Welcome to Unsuitable on Ray Radio, the award-winning financial services and business advisory podcast that challenges your old-school business practices and the traditional business suit culture. Our guests are industry professionals and experts who will challenge you to think beyond the suit and tie while offering you meaningful modern solutions to help you enhance your company's growth. I'm your host, Dave Kane.
Do you love what you do? Do you really love the work that you do and the people you do it for? If you're a business owner or the leader of an organization, you are probably pretty passionate about what you want to achieve in the beginning of your career. But as the years go by, sometimes that passion is replaced by the need to manage people, pay bills, turn a profit, the day-to-day whirlwind. While it can be hard to keep that passion alive, Linda Friel, CFO at Payne Payne Builders in Chardon, Ohio, is with us today to tell us why it's important to stay passionate in your profession, what you can do to keep the passion alive, and how doing so can help keep all the other responsibilities you're managing in line, and maybe just have some fun doing what you love to do the most. Welcome to Unsuitable, Linda.
Thank you, Dave.
Thanks for taking the trip to podcast headquarters in Dublin, Ohio. As I see, you're located in Chardon, Ohio, which is a really neat part of Ohio. Isn't that great wine country up that way?
I don't know about wine country, the snow belt.
The snow belt, great snow and wine up that way. But I wanted to mention that you're CFO at Payne Payne Builders, and tell us a little bit about Payne Payne.
Payne Payne is a company that was started by Mike Payne Sr., and the sons eventually came to work for him, and now the two brothers, Eric and Michael, are the shareholders and run the company. We've got 32 employees, and we have two divisions. We have a custom division and a neighborhood division. And it was kind of a perfect fit for me because in public accounting, it was always to us about the people and personal relationships, and that's what Payne Payne is all about. Building a home, which is in most instances the biggest
People
expense.
business, you got it. Yeah.
The biggest expense you'll ever incur. And for us, the process is not only about building your home, but for you to be comfortable and happy with your home at the end, and to make the process as seamless as possible.
So as you made the transition from public accounting to the construction industry, again, you hit it right on. That's a people business. You've got to deal with customer service, client service on a day-to-day. It's almost 24/7, each business.
Absolutely.
So, well, good. How can our listeners find out more about Payne Payne? Can you throw out the website? It's a website we can visit, or we just go through Ray and find Payne Payne that way?
You could do that. We have our own website, and we have different tabs on the website, so you can visit to learn about either the custom division or the neighborhoods we build in. We have a tab about our people and what their roles are and the function they perform for our company.
Okay. So today we want to talk about customer service, client service, and keeping the passion. And maybe we'll start with keeping the passion. Obviously, you mentioned you were in public accounting prior to taking the CFO role. Let's start. Did you ever lose the passion along the way?
I don't know if I ever lost the passion. I worked in public accounting for 35 years, and when my husband passed away, it was just a shift for me. I still had the passion to, actually at that point, my number one focus was taking care of my clients to make sure that everybody was going to be okay. And that's Ray was a perfect match for us because we had similar philosophies, and when I met with Lee, I felt really good about the future of service to my clients, and then being able to perpetuate that.
Right. Well, like you said, the passion, sometimes you take a little bit of a break from the passion just because of circumstances, but it sounds like you jumped right back into the passion part of the equation, making sure that your clients were happy.
Yeah, actually, it was like something to keep you going. You know what I mean? You go through a hard time in life, and my passion for my clients, who weren't just clients, they were friends, because we had developed relationships. And it was interesting in that because they were always our focus, taking care of them because that was our livelihood. In our time of need, it was our clients who stepped up to the plate to return to us.
Sure, sure. And I think that 24/7 mentality with passion in the public accounting has carried over, I would think, to the construction industry that you're now in, that public accounting was a great foundation for that customer service.
Absolutely, absolutely. Eric and Mike are completely committed to our customers, and if we get a project that's going sideways, they're quick to get involved to get everything back on track.
How can you share with us, or would you please share with us a couple ways of how, you became personally invested in your job? Were there any specific things you did that helped that mentality?
Well, I think part of it is, and one of my takeaways from this is don't be afraid to become personally invested in what you're doing, because then it becomes a passion. It's something more than something you're being paid for. You get a personal gratification from it, and at the end of the day, when you go the extra mile for a client, the client goes the extra mile for you. So I say that because I bet 95% of our referrals came from clients. We could advertise all day long. We really didn't ever get it much from advertising. It was always client referrals. How did you hear about us? And always a client's name would come up.
So don't be afraid to let your hair down on this thing.
Right.
Go for it.
Right.
I mean, and the payback is tremendous. Like you said, the dividends, the repeat customers, and the new business.
Yep, absolutely.
So in the shift a little bit of gears to the construction industry, and you mentioned someone building a resident or a dream home or a commercial building. You're the CFO of a very successful organization. How do you translate that over to working with the clients with Payne and Payne?
Well, Payne and Payne is all about a team approach. Really, we kind of jump in and help each other when, in many aspects of the business, it isn't like, yeah, I handle all the financial part of it, but if there's a need, we're always streamlining our systems. We have a saying, what isn't growing is dying. So we are constantly trying to improve our processes, and if I'm in the lobby, I say hello to whoever's in there. That's just the way we approach things.
Based on what you said earlier about don't be afraid to become personally invested in your job and the passion, it's had to translate to the bottom line.
Absolutely.
And I'm sure you've been in client situations, where you've looked and see, boy, that passion's not there, and I think you can probably, draw a parallel to the bottom line. Maybe they're not doing it. Maybe there's a failure somewhere in there.
Well, we feel like that's the difference for how we can separate ourselves from other builders. We take that more personal approach, and we feel like that's what separates us.
Over the course of your career on customer service, when you would sit down and develop goals, personal goals for the year, were there any goals in this area that you can recall or want to share?
I don't remember ever looking like we want to make this better, or we just try to keep we try to be we try to be the difference. We try to be the change. We try to make our service different than anybody else. If we felt like if we cared and put ourselves personally into the situation, that's what separated us. That's what made the difference. And
right.
It became a way of business for us. We couldn't have done it any other way.
Well, Linda, it sounds like really what we're talking about is building the culture within the organization to make sure the passion is there and the client service is there. So, and sometimes that happens naturally, but other times, you have to work hard at it.
Yeah, no, that's true. And I feel like, we have a great team at Payne and Payne, and Ray has a good team too, and that's part of what attracted me to Ray. But at Payne and Payne, we have a great team, and it's all about teamwork. It's working together. If somebody needs help on something, everybody's anxious to pitch in.
They're ready to go. It's
Yep.
team effort. That's culture. I mean, that's really what this is all about. A good part of it is building that strong culture and sticking to it.
Right, absolutely.
You know, I've heard you say, and in some of the notes that we shared, you know, people and personal relationships are everything. And it sounds like you've lived by, you know, that sign your entire career. Any words of wisdom for our listeners on how we make that better? How do we make people and personal relationships better than ever?
I think now when I look about it or really seriously think about it, I think about things that you do in life that you like or experiences that you had that stick through you stick to you or that you can remember or stick out to you. It's always about the people. So it's about the people you work with, it's about the people you do things with, it's about the people that you're with, and at the end of the day, I always feel like if you put your best out, it's almost like a mirror. It comes back to you.
You know what's interesting as I listen to that, we get training in all the technical stuff and how to build a home or take care of a general ledger, but very seldom do we get training in those people skills.
Yeah.
And it's just a natural process at some point for some business leaders.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why, to young people, I would encourage you to not be afraid to let people get to know you, learn who you are, learn about them, learn about their families, because like in public accounting or even in building a home, there are things you can learn from that person that can go into your project to make it better. Or, in accounting, it's something you can learn about a person that maybe there's something tax-wise that you can help that person out by just getting to know them.
It sounds like coaching and mentoring.
Yeah.
Been important in your
Absolutely.
career. So maybe we can talk a little bit about some advice you have for our listeners and fellow colleagues who have a coaching and mentoring program. Would you dedicate a session to this? And hey, people, it's people, it's people.
Yeah, it's always about the people, always.
Any words of wisdom on what you would do in a training session? Any publications to read? Any discussions? Any crucial conversations? Or is it just kind of in the flow of, hey, this is what happened, let's go for it?
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, you just have to be yourself. You know what I mean? Not be afraid to let other people see who you really are. And I think it's the genuineness of like who you are and how you present yourself and your work ethic and your professionalism. At the end of the day, that all comes back to you. You just have to be, an honest person and be who you are.
You'd also mentioned take care of your clients and customers and employees, I would say, in there, and in return, they will take care of you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it sounds like you've lived that your entire
Yeah,
career.
it was interesting because I asked Eric Payne a couple of weeks ago how many of our new customers came from referrals, and he didn't know exactly, but he said, I can tell you it's a really high percentage. And that's, one reason we try to take care of our people, because it not only is it important to us and our future, but it's important to keep your people happy so that they can share their positive experience with other people.
I'm sure you've had situations come up as a consumer where the other side of the aisle wasn't treating you with the greatest client service, or you could tell they didn't have the passion, probably impacted your buying decision.
Yeah, absolutely. I think many times I go like, wow, they could be so much better if they would just, provide some service or just relax and be human about this. You know what I mean? It gets too process driven, and sometimes that gets lost in the big companies.
Here's a checklist. Check that off. Forget there's a person on the other end of that checklist.
Absolutely.
But we also talk on this podcast quite a bit about the why. Why you do something and why you have the passion and why customer service. So I'm going to throw that back to you. Why do you feel you need 110% effort on customer service?
Well, because that's who we are. At the end of the day, if we don't have our customers, we don't have a business.
And that's your culture.
That's our culture.
So you could probably do a seminar on
I don't know
creating a
about that.
culture. Have you ever spoken a seminar on
No.
this? Because you're very passionate, you can tell, and your resume supports that as well. I want to switch gears a bit about the CFO position and financial position. We always like to know how the economy's doing out there. Of course, we read, we see, but there's nothing like sitting down with an entrepreneur or CFO and saying, "How's it going out there? What are you seeing? The economy good?"
Yeah, the economy's good right now. I mean, it's been a long time coming for us. As far as the market goes, things were tight for a while, and so people are hesitant to make big decisions. The market is really good right now. Probably one of our biggest challenges is lumber at this point because of all the tariffs. But
See, I knew you were going
business is
to
good.
throw in a little political reference there about the trade and trade agreements. I didn't know we were going to dive into that. I don't have any notes on that, but
no notes on tariffs today.
No notes on tariffs, so we'll stay away from that. How's the financing world? Obviously in the construction, you're dealing with customers who are, looking to borrow money, need to borrow money, in different ways and creative. How's the banking world out there as you see it from your position?
I think it's really good. We've got several banks that are in we run the construction loans through, and they seem to be competitive for business. So it must be somewhere that they're looking to expand or a market that is lucrative for them.
So thumbs up on where the business is.
Yeah.
How about the new tax law for construction companies and small businesses? What's your feel on that?
I think it might be too early to tell.
That's why you got out of public accounting, isn't it?
I knew that new tax law. I didn't want to deal with it.
You didn't like that
No.
at all, but yeah. I mean, what's your first thought on that? I mean, you've seen both ends. I mean, you saw from the public accounting and now as a contractor in business. So let's tear it apart a little bit. What do you think?
Well, we've been looking at different things. We're going to be introducing a Roth option to our 401k plan. We're strategizing W-2 income versus flow through business income so that we can take advantage of the small business deduction. I don't know. I think once we get some, it seems like the meals and entertainment they're still messing around with.
Oh boy,
Still
are they ever?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still no clear.
Contractors
path there.
don't entertain at all, do they?
Oh no.
Never.
No.
Neither do accountants ever. CFOs. We don't. But you're right. That's a good point. I think we have to get a year under our belt to see who the winners and losers are.
Absolutely.
And
and
hopefully
to re-gear. It seems like as accountants you're always planning on what is the best path for the current law. So now we have to figure out how to readjust to get the maximum benefit out of where we're headed.
So there's that passion for the business again.
Yeah.
We got to retool, re-gear. So as we wind down the podcast, I want to kind of highlight several things we talked about, and one is don't be afraid to become personally invested in your job. I think we can check that off.
Yep.
And we both agree there. I think that's fantastic. People and personal relationships are everything. And that's probably one of my favorites from your notes. People and personal relationships are everything.
Yep.
Like I said, we went to school to learn how to do the debits and credits, and we really didn't learn how to deal with people. So first-hand business and the culture that you build and that Ray built helps us to do that. So
Absolutely.
Love that. Take care of your clients, and in return, they will take care of you. So anything else we need to cover on that? I think that fits it just fantastic. Our guest today has been Linda Friel, CFO at Payne Payne Builders in Chardon, Ohio. But I also have to add that what a tremendous friend and colleague, I'll refer to as colleague of Ray & Associates. So
Thank you,
again, I appreciate you making the drive and sharing your notes. Thanks again for joining us, Linda. I think you have a powerful perspective on leadership and customer and client service. I hope our listeners will take a moment to reassess their roles and use your tips to help find greater success in their future. Did you enjoy today's episode? Let us know. Like it, comment on it, or share it. And don't forget to check out videos of our podcast on YouTube. Until next time, I'm Dave Kane, encouraging you to loosen up your tie and think outside the box. Okay, not too bad.